Hi everybody, it's Sherold Barr, and this is the second interview I'm conducting with mind-brain experts and psychologists who are studying various mind-brain practices. And neuroplasticity is just a booming area right now. The good news for us is that we can actually use our mind to change our brain. So my intention this year has been to practice yoga as much as possible, and I also have integrated the practice of Yoga Nidra, and I've been practicing Yoga Nidra for 10 months so far, and that has really helped me become more focused and much more intentional with my life. And now I want to share this practice with you. So my guest today is Richard Miller, and he is a psychologist and author of Yoga Nidra, the Meditative Path of Yoga. Richard is a contemporary teacher of non-dualism, whose teachings emphasize spiritual awakening and psychological integration. And in our second video, I've done 2 videos with Richard, interviews. He will talk about his experience with awakening and what he calls the 7th sense. And I hope that you'll find these 2 interesting. So just a little bit more about Richard. He is the founding president of the Integrative Restoration Institute. And so Richard also leads Yoga Nidra retreats worldwide and is often at Kripalu. So the whole idea is with Yoga Nidra is that there's a focus on enlightened living in daily life and just being more present. So it's my pleasure to welcome Richard Miller.
In 1970, I wandered into a yoga class, actually with the desire to meet people because I was new to San Francisco, and I thought it might be an interesting way to meet some friendly people. During the class, at the end of the first class, they taught the process, which I now know as Yoga Nidra, in a very lovely way. And that evening, I had what I would say was a very profound experience of my sense of non-separation from the totality of the universe. It threw me back to when I was very young and had also several experiences like this, when I felt a sense of attunement and a one-ment with the universe. And it gave me a sense of my place in the world. And I remember walking out of that class that evening feeling like this is what I had been looking for my entire life, and that I would dedicate a portion or my life to understanding this process. So over the years, since 1970, I've explored this process that we now call Yoga Nidra, and its various movements that have grown it into what it is today. So I trace it all the way back to about 2500 BC in its rudiments. And I've, over the years, practiced it, learned it, had my own experiences with it, shared it with my students in groups and retreats and trainings. And I've brought what I hope the practice into a more secular 21st century practice that I think is very well adapted and suitable for Westerners. It's a 10-stage protocol, I would say, of deep meditation, a set of tools that we can use to investigate who we are and what is the nature of reality and come to our own first-hand knowledge so that we, in a way, let go of second-hand intellectual understanding and we come from a very deep embodied experiential understanding through the practice of Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra, just by definition, yoga from my perspective means that we've embodied and we're experientially feeling and living in this sense of non-separation where we, even as our body, mind, and senses and our 6 senses are projecting a sense of differentiation and separation, yoga is this experience where we feel awakening of this, what I call the 7th sense, where we know no separation, even as our mind may be continuing to project it. And the word nidra is a word in Sanskrit that means sleep, but in the context of Yoga Nidra, it means a changing state of consciousness. So Yoga Nidra then would mean to know ourselves experientially And this sense of non-separation, no matter what state of mind or body we're in. So we might be in deep sleep and still feel this underlying sense of non-separation. We may be in the waking state, in a mood of, say, happiness or sadness or grief or maybe anger or irritation, and still feel no sense of separation. I think this has profound consequences in our daily life, because as we heal our normal sense of separateness that keeps us a sense of distance from another in the subject-object relationships that we feel, as we heal through that and let go of our, I call it, misperception of separation, and really feel experientially our non-separateness, and we know everyone in a way as ourself or as a reflection of who we truly are, while we still can have differences and respect differences. So this kind of dualistic framework we operate in through our body, mind, and senses. We can have conflict, we can have misunderstandings, we can have differences, we can enjoy our differences. But I think what the consequences are is we don't do war. We don't separate so that we stay in a kind of an intimacy and a vulnerability with one another, which allows us to come, I would say, into very deep relationship. So Yoga Nidra is a very profound, I would say, set of tools that helps us come to know who we really are, who everyone is, what the nature of reality is.